Welcome back to the Bluegrass on this beautiful December morning. I'm out with Slate. Slate is about a 5-month-old silver Labrador Retriever. Now just hold on, because I know already some of you guys are jumping into the comments section to say something derogatory towards silver Labrador Retrievers. Okay, now you don't need to get in a hurry, okay? Because today's video is simply a precursor for a big video we're going to make next week, where we take Slate out to do a bunch of stuff with some of my Labrador Retrievers, my black Labrador Retrievers, so that we can compare and contrast in real time. But what I'm looking for today is I'm trying to get a consensus in terms of opinions related to the development and continued breeding of silver labs, okay? So, listen, I want you to go ahead and put your opinion down below, and I already know how it's going to turn out, right? We're going to have some comments that say, well, this isn't a true Labrador Retriever. What it is a mixed breed. It had some Weimaraner thrown into it back in the 50s, and that's how they came up with this color. And that's okay if you want to say that. I don't in any way want to tell you that I know for sure, that didn't happen. Okay, but what I would like for you to do is I'd like for you to be honest, okay, and admit that in the dog business, it's not just silver labs. It's not just silver lab bloodlines where we know for sure that we have mama's babies and daddy's maybes, okay? Because there sure is a wide variety of labs, right? Okay, and I don't think it's possible to get that wide variety of labs, okay, without a few extra daddies in there somewhere, okay? I think we need to be honest about that, right? So that's the first thing. Where did the dog come from? Okay, and there's gonna be basically two camps. There'll be a camp that says, hey, they just pop up every so often. It's just simple genetics, right? And then there's going to be a camp of course, it's a Weimaraner mix. It looks like a Weimaraner mix. Kind of acts like a Weimaraner mix. So, the simplest answer is usually the best answer, right? Okay, so let's see what you got. Now, second thing, people are going to say something along the lines of, well, you shouldn't breed silver Labrador Retrievers because they're not very healthy. Okay, listen, that's a good point. Okay, but are we going to apply that same standard to current bloodlines? All right, and what I mean by that is for sure there are some issues with silver labs. When they come out here, I see a lot of skin issues with them. Okay, but I do lots of labs, guys, and skin issues are, that's only one of the problems that I see on a regular basis. I tell you what I see really a lot, and it's really, popped up more and more these last few years, is super droopy eyelids, okay? And I don't know what I would rather have, like a little bit of itchy skin, or have eyelids that every time I go out in a field, I get grass seeds and wood chips in my eyeballs, Okay, that's something to think about. I want you to think about it, because if we're going to get out that big, red marker and start marking through which bloodlines should be bred, if we're going to use health reasons as a criteria, then we got to be fair across the board, right? So if we're going to exclude these guys because they have a lot of skin problems, are we going to, exclude all of the bench bred dogs that have droopy eyelids? Are we going to exclude all of the low energy dogs? Are we going to exclude all of the dogs that have, like marginal connective tissue strength, marginal endurance? There's a lot of reasons to exclude dogs from a breed, but I think if we're gonna really be sticklers about health, then we got to be honest and apply it across the board, even to our friends, right? And that's really what happens in the dog business is you get to be friends with people, and then you don't want to say anything bad about their bloodline, because then they're going to say something bad about your bloodline, and then that's how you get camps and factions and stuff, and that's, that doesn't do anybody any good, right? Okay, now what about just the general, thinking that this dog doesn't meet the breed standard as it exists right now? People get in the comment section, they'll say something along the lines of, Stoney, there's, black, yellow, and chocolate. Well, the only reason that there's not black, yellow, chocolate, silver, and whatever other colors, because they haven't changed the breed standard yet. When they change the breed standard, well, then it'll be whatever colors they choose to include. Right? Now, if we're going to be, again, we're going to be sticklers, and we're going to talk about a breed standard, how many of any of the Labrador Retrievers bred now would meet the standards of the original people that developed and maintained the breed in the first place? and that's very few. So if we're going to get back to talking about, you know, breed standards, and we're going to be real sticklers, then I think that we got to go back to the original breed standard. And again, we're going to have to get that red marker out, and we're going to have to start marking out lots of bloodlines, because let's be honest, you know, it's a Labrador Retriever. It's not a Labrador walk in front of a blind person dog. It's not a Labrador go to the soccer game dog. It's not a Labrador go to the hospital dog. It's a Labrador Retriever. So all the labs that don't retrieve, we're going to have to put that, you know, big red X on them. It's a tough decision, okay? You're going to have to think about that. Here's another big thing, right? Okay, people that breed silver labs are only doing it for the money. Okay, they breed novel colored dogs because the dogs fetch a high price. Okay, so are we going to get the big marker out and start Xing through bloodlines that demand a premium price? Because it ain't just silver labs that cost a lot of money. I see a lot of labs that cost a lot of money, and I can tell you for sure that in the dog business, high price and quality do not positively correlate. Okay, so we're going to get that big red X out. Are you willing to get, you know, you really willing to get down and dirty telling people that they can't register their dogs anymore because they only bred them to look a certain way and they charge a lot of money? Are we going to tell the breeders that they're not allowed to charge a lot of money because, like, then there's a profit motive? I mean, what would you really rather have? Would you really rather have somebody that breeds nice dogs and charges a lot of money, or would you rather have someone who breeds not so nice dogs and charges no money? Okay, I mean, that's really important. I don't care how much somebody charges for a dog. I'll pay whatever it takes to get the dog I want. You know, I mean, but you might be different. So those are some issues. Now, another thing that I would like to talk about is why, and I know this is going to happen, but why can't people be civil when they're talking about dog breeds? Okay, it's absolute craziness. Okay, like, people are going to get in the comment section of this video and they're going to be rude to each other and they're going to say mean things. And then when you start being rude and saying mean things, then nothing gets accomplished, okay? And we're probably going to be right, you know, back where we started. But I'm going to do my best to have a conversation where, like, we really discuss the origin and the pluses and minuses of breeding silver Labrador Retrievers, okay? And I think where, if you guys were all honest, most of you would admit that all people want out of dogs nowadays, okay, are simple things. Maybe breeds are even kind of a thing of the past for most people. Ultimately, my experience is that people want a happy, healthy, outgoing dog with an affable personality, but that you can get gift wrapped in different colored paper. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this dog, he has all those qualities. He just happens to be wrapped in a silver type of wrapping paper. Okay, now for me personally, I think that all Labrador Retrievers ought to be black, right? Because all dogs want to be labs and all labs want to be black. And I think they all ought to be able to handle cold weather, and they all ought to have a lot of retrieving drive, and they all ought to get along with other dogs. You know, I mean, I have my own personal biases, right? So don't be on here acting like I'm like a cheerleader for certain kinds of dogs. Because if you wanted to restrict the breed standard just to black dogs that are good in cold water, like to fetch and are friendly, I'm good with that, okay? But I understand that as much as I'd like from my perspective to rule the world, it doesn't. Okay, and you have to understand that too when you're in the comment section. All right, so try to be polite, try to make a good argument, and don't just write something simple like there's only 3 colors. Okay, if there's only 3 colors in the breed standard, then that's fine. You can write that, but then express your opinion as to why there's only 3 colors. Okay, if you believe, I don't know where he went, but if you believe that dog was mixed with a Weimaraner and that's how they came up with silver labs, okay, which I'm kind of partial to that theory myself, hey, like, flesh it out. Where did they come from? What was the kennel that started that? What year was it started, or what decade? Okay, and was it an issue of mama's baby, daddy's maybe, or was it an issue of mama's baby, daddy's on purpose, but we just ain't going to tell anybody? Okay, so there's lots of things we can talk about next week, okay? But it's only gonna be a fun experience if we're all civil. So get to writing below, okay? And then I'll come back next week and I'll add all of your comments into the next video, and we'll take this silver lab on a big adventure with all my black labs so that we can compare and contrast in real time, and maybe, just maybe, we can come to some kind of consensus. All right, I'll see you guys next week. I did a good dog. You're a very good dog. Oh, you're gonna be so famous, or maybe infamous. Very nice.